Good afternoon, this is Terry from the Frugal Connection. Welcome to my kitchen. What I want to make today is a Thai garlic eggplant, and I'm going to have this for dinner tonight, and so I want to invite you to come along with me as we make this. The first thing we need to start with is a hoisin sauce, which I did not have, and we are just going to make it from scratch. It's super simple. Okay, so for the hoisin sauce, what we need is soy sauce, and I have a reduced sodium soy sauce here. We need rice vinegar. We need a sweetener, and because I'm not using sugar, I'm not going to use sugar in it, so I didn't want to use molasses, which a couple of the recipes I found called for, but I'm going to use honey. In this case, normally I don't eat honey, but I just feel like it matches well with this dish. I have sriracha sauce, I have peanut butter. It does call for sesame oil, which I didn't have any of, but I have tahini, which is just pure sesame paste. So I'm just going to make a substitution, cornstarch and water. And here we go. All right, so the first thing we're going to start with is a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. All right, that's that. And then I'm going to put in 2 teaspoons of rice wine vinegar. I forgot to mention that it also calls for garlic and ginger, which we're going to use. And I'm going to use a teaspoon of sriracha. So hoisin sauce is basically a sweet, savory, salty dish. It's very tasty. All right, and then we are going to add in 2 tablespoons of honey. All right, it calls for 2 teaspoons of sesame oil. Like I mentioned, I don't have any sesame oil. So what I'm going to do, and actually this kind of separated a little bit, so I'm just going to put a tablespoon of sriracha in it. And some of these natural nut and seed butters, that's what they do. They separate. So in this case, it works out well because then I can just kind of mostly pull the oil from the top, which is not toasted, or it's not toasted or anything, but it'll do the trick. All right, and now I'm adding 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. Making a mess. All right, I'm going to take a couple cloves of garlic, and I'm going to mince this up fine. All right, I have 3 cloves here, so I'll make it a little garlicky. I actually just realized there's no ginger in hoisin sauce, but I'm going to peel and cut up this ginger anyway because I'm going to use it in my eggplant dish. So I'm going to need it. I might as well take it out. I went grocery shopping this morning, and I went and purchased a large bag of garlic, or of ginger. And so what I'm going to do also this afternoon later on is peel it all, cut it up into smaller pieces, and then I put it in a freezer bag and just store it on the door in my freezer. And when I need it for different dishes, I just take out a frozen piece of ginger, I grate it fine, and I use it in the dish, and it works great. All right, let me throw this in here. All right, I'm going to take a teaspoon of cornstarch. And I'm also going to add about a tablespoon of water. All right, and now I'm going to just give this a good mix. And I'm just mixing it right into the measuring cup, because if I can use less dishes, that's always a good thing. Let me give this a little taste test. That's really good. Oh my goodness. All right. Moving on to the next thing. So let me get this cleaned up and I will meet you back here in a minute. Okay friends, this recipe, I'm going to put some tofu into it also, so that'll kind of bulk up the protein. You can use any vegetable that you want to go along with the eggplant. I think what pairs nicely is some carrots. I have some mushrooms here. They're just baby Bella mushrooms, and I have some peppers, and then I'm also going to grab an onion and some garlic, and I have the ginger. So I'm going to get this organized and I will meet you back here. I also have some green onions too, some scallions that I forgot about. So, all right, I'm going to start by opening up the package of tofu. You basically open it up, you drain out the liquid, and then I have a tea towel here that I'm just going to lay on this plate, and I'm going to press the tofu right between this and set it to the side while I'm making the rest of the dish. All right, so as you can see, I'm laying my tofu here, and I'm going to just take my towel, cover it up, give it a good squeeze. Usually, if I really want it super dry, I will put something heavy on top of it and just let it sit for about an hour, and it'll just press all the moisture out. But for this purpose, this will work fine. So I'm just going to set this over here. I'm going to start by mincing up 2 cloves of garlic. Actually, I have 3 again, so. So what I'm going to do with this garlic is I'm just going to give it, a rough chop. I'm not going to mince it super fine, but I don't want big giant chunks of garlic in my dish either. So I'm going to slide that over to the side. I am going to peel my ginger. And I find ginger it's not hard to peel. It's hard to peel only because there's all these little projections coming out of it. So you have to work around all those. Oh my goodness, this smells so amazing. I love ginger in every form. And because I just find it very difficult to get ginger to get fine enough that I'm not taking these huge, these spicy bites. I find the thing that works for me is I have it's a little grater here, like a zester. And I just use this for the ginger, and I just give this a zest. My ginger, I have my garlic peeled. Okay, so I have 2 carrots here, and I'm going to peel those, and then I'm going to cut them on an angle. And you can serve this over, you could get brown rice noodles and serve it over that. You can serve it over rice. I have some extra rice that I made the other day, and I need to use it up, so I'm just going to go ahead and serve it over rice tonight. All right, so what I'm going to do is I want to just kind of cut these on an angle in fairly thin slices. Okay, the longest part of this is just the prep. So now I'm going to take my mushrooms, and I'm just going to, again, slice these. If you don't like mushrooms, just leave it out of the dish. Now, I don't generally use any oil in my cooking. To me, it just adds extra calories with no nutritional value at all. So as much as I can, I don't use oil. And so this particular dish, I am not going to use it either when I saute these vegetables. What you can use is water. Put a little bit of water in your pan, add your vegetables, let it let it cook. And if you find that it starts to stick, you can add a little bit more water as needed. So, all right, that's all the mushrooms I'm going to use. I'm going to have this bag of peppers that I wanted to use up. So I'm just going to take a few yellow ones, a few red ones. And these are sweet peppers. They're not hot. All right, I'm just going to cut them. Okay, so now I'm going to take my eggplant, and how I'm going to cut this is, it's probably going to be easier to show you. I'm going to cut off the end. I want that off, and now I'm also going to leave the skin on. If you don't like it, you can peel it. I think the skin has a lot of good flavor to it. It's also one of the most nutritious parts of it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it in half lengthwise. And then I'm going to cut it into kind of thirds. And then I'm going to take each piece and just kind of cut these kind of. So what I have here is like these little wedges. And I'm just going to do that with all this eggplant. And if the wedges get too big, you can cut them. Like, see, this one is a little too big. So then I'm going to cut it in half lengthwise again. Okay, friends, we're going to get started. I have a pretty good nonstick pan here. I'm going to turn the heat on to about medium-low to get it started. And I'm going to add a little bit of water to the pan because we're going to start out with the eggplant because that's going to take a little longer to cook down. All right, friends, I'm going to put a little bit of water in my pan, and I'm just going to put about 1/4 of an inch in there because not even. It's probably about 3 tablespoons. And it's heating up. And what I'm going to do is I am going to add my eggplant right into that. And I'm going to let this start cooking. Now, eggplant, you got to cook it pretty fast. I mean, you have to get it in heat or something pretty fast because otherwise it starts to turn brown. It oxidizes just like apples would or anything like that. So, all right, and I am going to add a pinch of salt just because I want to help draw out that moisture. All right, this is starting to get going here. But again, if the water starts to come out of the pan, just you can add a little bit more. If you really don't care about the extra calories in the oil, you can add a little bit of oil to it. That's fine. I'm just trying to avoid that. So this is how I've started cooking, and now it's such second nature that it's really a couple of times when I did use oil for something, I could really taste it. It wasn't, and I use a good olive oil, but I didn't like the taste of it. So I'm getting used to this new way of eating and cooking. All right, now this is really starting to go. And as it starts to cook down, it actually makes more room in the pan because the vegetables start to shrivel a little bit, or reduce, I should say. There's a lot of moisture in eggplant, and because I added that salt, some of that moisture will get drawn out and into the pan. And then later when we add in the hoisin sauce, it'll just add flavor to everything. And you'll see your vegetables start to get a little translucent. All right, now while that's doing that, I think I am going to add my garlic right into this just to start building some flavor in here. And I'm also going to add in my carrots because they're going to take longer to cook. I find the tofu, you can almost wait till the end because with tofu it tends to if you have to start stirring the vegetables, it'll start crumbling and fall into pieces. So as you can see, this eggplant is really starting to reduce down, and that's what you want. And again, I'm going to get the carrots in there. I'm going to leave it alone for a minute, and while that's doing that, I'm going to grab my tofu and I'm going to start cutting it into cubes. Okay, so as you can see, a lot of the moisture's come out. Now it's not quite the consistency I normally would do because I usually let it set a lot longer. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this into cubes. Now I'm also going to add in my peppers. Going to add a smidge of black pepper, just like a pinch of black pepper to the pan. You can see the vegetables are cooking and steaming. And in a minute, I'm going to add in the mushrooms and the hoisin sauce and the ginger. All right, I'm going to add in my ginger. I'm going to add in the mushrooms. Give this a good stir. Oops. And now I'm going to add in the sauce that we made. And then I'm also going to add in the tofu at this point. But once I add the tofu in, I'm just going to gently kind of fold it in. I'm going to gently fold it in, but I'm not going to do a lot of stirring at this point because I don't want the tofu to break into a million pieces. I just want them to kind of get incorporated in there. I'm just going to crack the lid a little bit, and I'll get this cleaned up. All right, friends, I also took 4 green onions, and I'm just going to mix those in there as well. Just going to give that a good mix. Let those heat through for a few minutes, about 3 minutes, and then we'll give it a taste test. Okay, friends, that looks so yummy. Very good. So I'm going to dish this up and give it a taste test. All right, this smells amazing, and I am going to give this a taste test and see how it turned out. Wow, that is so tasty. It is sweet. It's a little bit salty from the soy sauce. It's got some heat to it that you don't really taste until after it's gone down. But it's so flavorful. It's so yummy. Very simple and easy to make. It probably, without the camera, it would have taken me maybe 10 minutes to put the whole thing together and another 5-10 minutes to cook. It is delicious. It's nutritious. Because it has no oil in it, so it's lower in calories. It's just vegetables, tofu, and the rice. Now, I do have white rice because that's what I happen to have already made. If I was going to do it again just for myself, I would do the brown rice. So you can use whatever grain that you want. You can have it without the grain. The other thing you could do is use some udon noodles or some brown rice noodles. It's so versatile and it's just so, so tasty. So I will type up this recipe. I will put it down below, the link to it in the description box, which is right below the video. If you go hit that link, it'll take you to my website where all those recipes are listed on my blog. And I hope you give this one a try. It is so fun to cook this way and to take some delicious dishes that I've always loved making, tweak them to this new way of eating, and then come up with something that's just lower in calories, but yet higher in nutrition, higher in the ability to fill me up and keep me full longer. So this is definitely a keeper, and I know my husband, when he gets home, he's going to love this because he loves all kinds of different foods, and this one I know he's going to like. So I hope you give it a try. I hope you're having a great day. You can give this a thumbs up if you'd like. Subscribe to my channel. I attempt on a regular basis to make some new recipes and post them. My new book is called Simple and Nutritious. It's 52 plant-based recipes. I'll put the link to that below too. But anyway, I hope you get adventurous and try some new things. And I think you'll be happy that you did. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.